Full year end.
Blowout, Atlantic blowout, and we kick off on Anchor's chart, where President Tinubu is to call Wike and the NPF to order. That's coming from the Ijaw National Congress, who have asked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to prevail on Barrister Nyesom Wike, the FCT minister, and his loyalists to stop their moves aimed at sacking the River State Governor, Siminalaye Fubara. The INC, in a statement signed by its president, Professor Benjamin Okaba, on Monday, said, Mr. President, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, we implore you once again to call Mr. Wike and those federal government agencies and agents who are putting River State at risk of anarchy to order. Such elements are inimical to the stability of Nigeria sooner or later. He said Mr. Wike has also featured on several network TV stations where he made very provocative statements and scandalous claims against Governor Fubara, accusing the governor of attempting to take over his structure, openly taunting him as an ingrate who is lacking in integrity, as well as asserting without investigation that the governor masterminded the burning down of the hallowed chambers of the River State House of Assembly. Is Mr. Wike at liberty to make scandalous, libelous and inciting comments without fear of sanctions from the security agencies or even Mr. President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Okaba queries, is Wike the C-in-C of the armed forces of Nigeria such that those on national assignment in River State now act according to his whims and caprices, or those he supports in the push to impeach or make River State ungovernable for his excellence gleaned from history? Can law-abiding citizens suffer such intolerable lawlessness orchestrated by one man indefinitely? We therefore submit to Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that the Ijaw National Congress worldwide, its affiliate bodies, substructures and activists are direly concerned by the impunity and indecorous conduct by a minister of the federal government and the apparent connivance of those who ought to curb his excesses. The Apex Pan-Ijaw Sociocultural Organization commended Fubara for his calm and mature disposition in the face of insults and provocations by the FCT minister, noting that such conduct is becoming of a civilized leader and statesman.
I like the way that wrapped up, particularly from the bottom. For me, is a statesman. You don't shout, you don't make noise because you have millions of people looking up to you.
Right.
Hates Fubara, like him. The fact is, this young man have projected and presented himself as a leader in the 24th century?
Well, if I will throw my opinion in the ring here, I would say through the electioneering process, I wasn't a fan of Sim Fubara.
Same here.
Because I thought someone who was running for office should be the one speaking for himself.
True.
Telling us what his plans are, telling us what was going wrong that he intended to correct, telling us things he intended to improve upon from the last government, telling us his no. Vivian is being naughty this morning, but
I'm just trying I'm just trying to bring the issues out. You don't want to talk about it.
Is that the issue? I'm trying to stay. I'm trying to stay according to explicitly what has been said, and you are trying to drag me. But
I'm just trying to say that
amazing.
You should leave Sim alone. He couldn't speak at that point because the Godfather was there. When it happened to Rotimi Amechi as well, some time ago, he was even locked out of government house at some point. When it happened, there's never been consequences. And when there are no consequences for actions, they repeat itself. And this cycle of doom keep repeating until maybe someday
is this a trend when you are in the opposition party? To be a trend in River State.
Matter of fact, that this made him to fall out with his predecessor, Right Honorable Rotimi Amechi, the immediate past Minister of Transportation, whom we know was not even directly interfering in the affairs of the state. So what purpose are the structures supposed to serve when there is a governor in place? This is a question that he owes you all Nigerians, you and all Nigerians. If all governors who, as a matter of right, insist on allowing their favored candidate as successor, insist on controlling them, insist on controlling the state assemblies, insist on controlling the structure which they left behind, what manner of confusion will we have in Nigeria? To further put themselves against the governor and possibly drag you and your political party, the APC, we are now receiving a breaking news that 27 members of River State House of Assembly, all of whom are PDP like the governor, they come to the APC. The question is what is going on in his state. At a relatively young age of 55 years, my son, Wike, had been a Minister of State, Minister in the Federal Ministry of Education, before serving as governor for 8 years, and now Minister of FCT. So what does he need a structure for? This is very curious. But Edwin Clark said, if strong politicians such as yourself and other former presidents never talk about controlling structures, so how can a minister be threatening a governor not to touch a structure he has left in place? Then it will be total confusion. He should focus on his office and know that he is just one among a cabinet of 48 persons, besides the vice president and yourself. But Clark said the country has enough problems with your government which your government must sit down to solve. All right, legally speaking, I want to start from the defection of yesterday. Legally speaking, because we learned that the PDP is saying the seats of the 27 members are vacant. Therefore, they have no playing out. You are a son of the soil. You live in this state, as a matter of fact. Help us paint a better picture of what we're looking at here.
Well, I will first of all look at what the Constitution says about the scenario playing out in River State, particularly Section 109, subsection 1, paragraph G, which is impari material. You read it mutatis mutandi with Section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G, which the Supreme Court has clearly interpreted in the case of Sunday Ifedayo Abegunde, against Ondo State House of Assembly. You remember what happened in 2012 in Ondo State, where he defected from Labour Party to Action Congress, Section 1, paragraph G, which is impari material with Section 109, which is playing out in River State now. And it was very clear. If being sponsored by a particular political party defects from that political party, you stand to lose your seat automatically. But there are exceptions. The proviso, which was what Bifedayo actually went to seek cover and protection from, because the Labour Party in Ondo State was factionalized. So there were two state chairmen laying claim to the leadership of the party in Ondo State. So he took advantage of that factionalization of the party in the state. I never defined that as a faction because these people are not, they are not, technically speaking, members of the state party ESCO.
Right.
All right. In the case of Ifedayo, there were two factions of the ESCO. Clearly, and then, but the Supreme Court said clearly in that definition of what division is, in that provision of the Constitution, that that division does not include factions in the state chapter of the political party. State and local government chapters of that political party. If there are factions at that level, it doesn't come. Supreme Court, that the consequences that you vacate the assembly should do is to declare those seats vacant, and then write to INEC to conduct by-elections. Although I think in 2019 or so, the National Assembly were thinking this particular scenario on how to amend the Constitution in such a way where there may not be any need for by-election, that the opportunity will be given to the sponsoring political party to replace.
Can you take that again?
That's what I'm saying, that what they should do, the procedure is that the House of Assembly would declare the Speaker of the House of Assembly would declare the seats vacant.
You see, but there's an issue.
Any action he takes is valid and binding in the eyes of the law. So if he declares those seats vacant and writes to INEC, and the government writes to INEC, the time begins to count for INEC to conduct a by-election.
Well, PDP will lend have written to INEC. But now, speaking of the appropriation bill, we were surprised that yesterday evening we saw that, but that would be you, Kingsley. Let me just begin to think about all of this, because Alabo has just released a whole lot right now.
Well, as surprised, like Vivian rightly said, the River State Executive Council on Monday deliberated and approved 800 billion naira budget for the 2024 fiscal year. In a press statement by Boniface Onyedi, the Senior Special Assistant to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, he said the State Council christened it Budget of Renewed Hope and Consolidation and Continuity. While addressing Newsbeat after the meeting, the River State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Wari Senator Joseph Johnson, said
government and governance is for the security and well-being of citizens. That's the primary role and primary objective of government, and the essence of governance is for the people. It is not for the political players. The quarrels between politicians cannot ground and stop the business of governance in the state. So I'm so happy that the governor seems not to be distracted by all these activities that he has found himself, by no act of his involved it. I'm so happy, and it's the way to go. He should continue to maintain focus. Let him stay the ship. The people are behind him. No matter what happens at the end of the day, River State is bigger than BK. River State is bigger than Sim Fubara. River State is bigger than all the politicians who are running the affairs of the state. So what is important is the welfare and the well-being of citizens of River State. So it's way to go.
Now, INC, Edwin Clark, who just talked about his position, which is President Tinubu. Why are you not curious at what Wike is driving at? Because to them, I'm talking about INC and the PANDEF right now, they are seeing a Wike who is set on destabilizing the state. While Wike, to him, he is fighting to protect his structure. He has made several threats, veiled and unveiled threats, which is out there in public, and of course, the typical Wike, that is not the first time, is a norm. During the campaigns, we saw him do a lot of that. Now, the RNC particularly is questioning why the security agencies, they are saying, is Wike now the CNC, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces? Why are they not curious or wondering him here to kindly intervene? But he has intervened before. If at this point the president doesn't wear the big shoes and stamp it on the ground to say this is what it is, what paint a picture for us what may be going to...
Press releases are hearing from PANDEF and from INC. They are not things you will hear and go and lie down and sleep. We know our people. Niger Delta is very volatile. And the youths listen and hear from their leaders. They watch the body language of these politicians and they are waiting in the wings. And we don't want this situation to snowball at the end of the day, it now becomes a crisis that will now, begin to claim lives and properties in the state. So it's a call that is in actions and activities. And we see brazenly that these people still carry out these activities under the heavy security protection of the Nigerian police.
Yeah, like they said, the 27 lawmakers you see sitting in the assembly.
You said something that these things happen because there are no legal consequences.
Yeah, we haven't seen any.
To reoccur if there are no sanctions. The laws become impotent when you don't apply sanctions that come with it.
So now let's sorry to continue.
Yes, please, go on.
Let's look at it from another angle here. This impasse between the FCT minister and the condescending manner. Maybe they believe that for states as River State, coming to talk about it may not work. So let's destabilize. Let's get the core politicians in the state switch over to us. Let's weaken the power of the PDP in River State ahead of the next elections. Or there are also other permutations. The governor gets impeached, and the FCT minister's whims and caprices will come into the power. In this case, the deputy governor, maybe.
Or
the
even
Speaker of the House of Assembly, maybe. Or, let's not also forget, there's this
universal adult suffrage, which gives people the freedom to, practicing democracy. These people fought for democracy. So it will be quite paradox for Mr. President, who knows how the history behind this struggle, to now be the one to want to champion, to take us back to
socio-cultural, socio-political group Ohaneze Ndibo still negotiates with the federal government to release the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, as a Christmas gift for the Southeast region. The Vice President Ohaneze Ndibo Worldwide, Chief Damian Okeke Ogede, who disclosed this on behalf of the group, said anything short of Kanu's release meant the hope of the people in the Southeast had been dashed this Christmas.
The sentiments shared by the Ohaneze Ndibo is to be expected, especially at such a time like this, when the confidence on the judiciary has been eroded. So I think extant laws. I need the lower courts that have exonerated this man followed the due process of the law in arriving at that decision. The Supreme Court will toe the same line.
All right.
Right, while we look forward to that Supreme Court ruling, we move on to Oyo State, where Governor Seyi Makinde has inaugurated an 8-member state advisory council on Monday. They are to advise him, not Governor Makinde himself. He said he expects the council to help him get feedback from the people on the actions and inactions of his administration, and they sift through an avalanche of ideas and suggestions to ensure he takes decisions that are in the best interest of the majority of Oyo people. The governor said the advice from the committee will help him address issues like infrastructure deficits in schools, staffing and equipping health facilities, gaps in the enforcement of the rule of law, illegal mining, environmental and social infractions of governance with him, stressing that if decisions go wrong, whether based on their advice or not, they will share the blame with him. Makinde promised to quickly address issues brought to his attention by the committee as long as they were sustainable and beneficial.
2023 to commiserate with survivors of the unfortunate incident. The visit is aimed at securing first-hand insights of what transpired and enabling it to garner useful information to forestall future occurrence. The caucus has pledged to follow up with the federal government to ensure appropriate compensations for the victims and the community as promised by the federal government. The caucus is poised to provide the legal framework for the compensation and also ensure that the families of those who were killed are adequately captured in the compensation scheme. The caucus appeals to the affected community and the leaders to remain calm and law-abiding while thanking the government and
going on there, and decided to go on an ethnic cleansing mission. These are questions that we should be asking ourselves now. Who led that mission?
We have no idea.
How was the mistake? If it was a mistake, how is it possible that the Nigerian Air Force will make such mistakes to go and bomb innocent Nigerians and kill them?
So who are these
the question.
Nigerians? Who are these Nigerians? Have you seen their list or their names
Exactly.
anywhere? Can we even care? Do we care enough to give them an identity?
A holistic investigation, a forensic investigation ought to have been carried out, first and foremost, to determine the veracity of this incident, the full extent of what really happened, so that we will get to know exactly what, so that tempers will begin to manage the temper. Because if it happened in Kaduna State today, who says it cannot happen in Rivers State?
Femi Falana, by the way, is threatening to sue the federal government because he said that for a number of years, this is like about 17 times or thereabout when this similar incident had happened. In fact, the Islamic movement of Nigeria is also saying the same thing. Femi Falana said there are 400 persons from Borno State, and across board that have been killed in this way. If the National Assembly, Nigeria's National Assembly, compensation is yet to be paid to those who have had this issue happen to them, their family, we don't have identity.
Vivian,
we don't know who these people
can
are.
Restore the life of one citizen.
Exactly, and then you have not
if
even
you keep
told
hammering
us.
on money, you keep hammering on compensation, you're not talking about consequences for action.
So my question, exactly, my question then is...
begin to investigate these military people and begin to hold them accountable. Anybody who was involved in that should face the full wrath of the law.
So the question then is,
until we begin to do this, these things will continue.
If the lawmakers who should be questioning the military for this action, whom we should see them, like I was saying yesterday, if this was a U.S. house, for instance, you will see these people on live television answering questions.
Exactly.
We don't know the military officers who carried this out. How are we sure that this is not a conscious thing to sabotage Kaduna State the more? What exactly is going on? You're giving 109 million to the governor to distribute to these people. You have not investigated. We don't know the names of our fellow brothers and sisters who were killed. You've not given them an identity. You've been doing this for so long, and people are talking about dishing money out. Are we a joke to ourselves? You think?
I'm happy that Femi Falana is leading that charge. We are grateful to God that we still have people like that in Nigeria who will speak out and not just talk the talk, but also walk the walk. Go to the court, seek judicial redress. It may come to a point where we may have to drag Nigeria before the International Court of Justice.
You think that would save the day?
I'm telling you, some people must have.
He's finding it funny.
Someone has to be paid.
Till date.
So what's the use of going to the courts anymore? With all due respect to everybody who's in government, we have observed that in the last 8-9 years, 8 years plus, the Nigerian government does not respond to court orders, does not honor court orders.
I'm a lawyer, I can tell you for free that these are the things that we suffer as lawyers. You get judgments against federal government.
Oh, you mentioned one recently, by the way.
Nothing against federal agencies.
So
you find it difficult.
Going to the court one more time.
Within the system,
is that not a waste of your time?
They have structured a pattern of shielding the states from execution of, especially monetary judgments. You cannot execute monetary judgment against federal agencies. I have cases, I have matters that I have done against DSS, I won. I have matters that I've done against EFCC, I won. I have matters that I've done against the Nigerian police for abuse of fundamental rights of citizens, I won. And the monetary compensations were awarded to these citizens. It's been very difficult. We won't be able to access funds from the central bank because of the TSA policy.
And now, with all of these playing out, you have first-hand idea of compensation and all of that, and not even been awarded, and people are dishing out their supposedly 400 million approximately and 109 million. To what end?
It is the best.
How long will this disrespect continue to the Nigerian people?
I believe the giving out of arms, that's what I would call it, by the members of the
National Assembly
may just be the
only reprieve that these
people may
have.
that these people will get. If they get it finally, if it's not playing to the gallery.
Yeah, because the senators gave the 109 million, they
I
were
was
giving it to the
expecting
governor.
that they will go beyond.
These people are giving this to the federal government. To call for accountability. Isn't this part of what their oversight function is supposed to be about?
We should.
people into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition.
and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
In the state, stressing that the escalating rate of gender-based violence cases in the state remained so worrisome and confusing for all stakeholders. According to her, gender-based violence has negative effects on humanity, and there is a need for collaborative effort to tackle the menace. Also speaking, the Secretary for a Social Protection Platform, the civil society organization, Mr. Yusuf Yahaya, called on parents and guardians to take care of their children to prevent them from being affected by gender-based violence, asking for the VAP law to be fully implemented, which is a violence against persons with all of that. If this call in 2023 is still something we still put out there in the news, one begins to wonder, what is the essence of the state assemblies? What is the essence of this law? Okay.
Implementation will mean executing those judgments. The question is, how do you execute? If you don't cry out, nobody will know, nobody will feel your pain. So the implementation, the government will not come and do it for you. Of course, maybe it's a religious, because in the north we know that women are somewhat subjugated and subdued by their religious practice. Women are meant to be seen and not heard. It's almost like a taboo for a woman to come out to make a case against a man in the north. So the government will not come out to cry for you.
Okay.
The laws are there, they are available. Take advantage of them. Anybody who has been oppressed, anybody who has found herself or himself, becoming a victim of what the law prohibits, there are channels to make your complaint. Go to FIDA. FIDA can even take it up for you, either to the Nigerian police or the agencies established for that purpose. And the laws will be applied and you will get your remedy. Ubi Jews, Ibi remedy, and where there's a wrong, there must be a remedy. But until you take steps by yourself.
Talked about the religious coloration given to a lot of these things, particularly in the northern part of the country. But we have also had strong women. Is it religion, or is it ethnic, is it culture or tradition that subjugates this implementation? And implementation comes when there are demands for it to be executed.
Exactly.
Now, if it's about, so is it really religion rather, or ethnic coloration?
It's a combination of all them. Of course, you know that Nigeria, the way we practice our own religion, it happens also in the Christian religious doctrines. So it's a combination of these factors that make our people seem to be docile. But of course, those who are aware, those who are enlightened, those who understand that they have these rights. Like I just said, we celebrated the Magna Carta of 1947, Declaration on Human Rights and People's Rights Freedoms, just on Sunday. Don't forget, I also have a little bit of fundamental right